Welcome to the Dream Diva podcast. I'm your host and dream medium, Keough. I deliver a masterclass in shamanic dreaming and intuitive dream interpretation. I want to help you break free of the past and empower your transformation now. We're here to learn from our dreams, and our dreams are our best teachers. So whether you remember your dreams or not, you'll receive inspirational guidance to help change your career, health, and relationships for the better. In this show, you'll discover the meaning behind your soul symbols and receive messages from your guides and spirit animals. You'll also learn how to have precognitive dreams and connect with your ancestors on the other side. The Dream Diva podcast starts now. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I want you to call in with a question about your dreams or dream interpretation, and the number is 800-930-2819. You can watch live on Facebook at Transformation Talk Radio, and go to my website and email me info@thedreamdiva.com if you want your dream interpreted by me on the show. And you can also book a one-on-one intuitive reading with me at my website. So today we're going to start off talking about dark force manipulation and how to protect your dreams from dark force manipulation. And what better way to start off than to talk to someone who has offered their dark manipulation dream for me to interpret and to talk about so that we can learn from it. And I would love to know if Ericka is on the line.
Hi, Kelly. I am. I'm here.
Nice to hear from you, Ericka. So I want to thank you so much for letting me work on this intense and fascinating and needed to talk about dream experience of being warned by your soul from danger, because that's what it boils down to. And first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about Women Who Run with the Wolves. That was a book that was written by Clarissa Pinkcola Estes, and I read it in my late 20s. So that's now in the 90s, let's say the beginning of the 90s. And I read that book and it stuck with me. So when you're in your late 20s and you're trying to figure out who you are sexually, and you're trying to find a relationship and find that one and get married, I could say that I was very motivated by desperation, especially growing up, not having a positive body image and being really rejected by men and, every kind of person for my body shape. So I was really trying to understand that. And I didn't know that I was having these dreams. But first I want to tell everyone about the book. This book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, is a book about intercultural myths, fairy tales, folklore, and stories that reconnect the women, the fierce, intense, visionary attributes of their instinctual wolf nature. And I wonder if you had read that book, Ericka.
No, I have not read it. It sounds very fascinating, though, and something I should probably read.
It is fascinating because there's stories like Bluebeard there, or even Little Red Riding Hood, or variations of the Big Bad Wolf.
Oh.
And the predatory nature. So when I read that book and I uncovered the phenomenon, the psychic phenomenon of dark man dreams, I knew that that's what I had been having. Although in my dreams, they were not dark men. They were blonde men, blonde white men that were always stalking me and trying to kill me. I mean, with the most intense fear and dread. And it was the same energy in the fairy tales and folklore that is woven through Clarissa's book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And, wolves, dream imagery and animal medicine it means strong instinct. the fierce, strong instinct to protect self and others, to protect the pack. And I'm just wondering if you've ever experienced. Now, interesting though, have you ever, when you used to date men, did you experience any dark man dreams of predatory energy stalking you to try to kill you before this?
It's really funny. Yeah, no, I didn't have dreams of that, but I had actual living experiences of that. So it's really interesting that you brought that up. And just so your listeners are aware, I'm a late to life lesbian, and have had mostly all male relationships until this last one, which is a part of the dream that I'll share with you and that Kelly has connected into. But no, I find that really interesting, and that's a great question to ask, because I never did have those type of predatorial dreams as when in dating men.
Yep.
But I did experience very tumultuous, like, in life experiences.
So interesting. Okay, that is such good information for me to share. Hold that thought, because I'm going to bring that back around full circle. And
Yeah.
I feel like I know why. Like, because for me, they were coming left
Okay.
and it took me forever to understand them and to actually heed them. But
Yeah.
having said that, I'm so appreciative of your dream and lived experience, because it will all help us learn about dark man dreams as spiritual initiations from the soul. And yes, they can come in as dark female dreams too. So it doesn't matter. In the dream
Mm-hmm.
world, gender is transformative, shape shifting, and it's the energy behind it that really matters. And yet yours didn't come until the lesbian relationship. And I think that that is really interesting to your whole spiritual initiation. So let's talk about, well, let me ask you this before we go into the dream. When did you know you were a lesbian?
That is a great question. It's funny. If I'm really honest with myself and I look back over my life, I think I knew when I was a kid, but due to cultural conditioning, societal norms, all of those things, and then having some of my own childhood trauma, I felt like I had to fit into this perfect little box that our world, not so much now, but especially back then. I'm 50, so this is way back in the 70s. We were taught that we were supposed to be the perfect. We're being groomed to be the perfect little good housewife that entails having a husband. So I fought it my whole life and tried to say no, I'm not, and then I finally came out as being pansexual, because I did have some intermittent relationships with women, but they were never monogamous or solidified in any way. And then I took 2 years off from dating a couple years back and decided to really figure this out. And thankfully, COVID helped keep us all locked down and sequestered to our own little space. And I was able to dig in and really find the truth, and came out literally about, almost a year ago, December of 2021. So, yeah, that's my journey to coming out of the closet, if you will.
And so it's so interesting, and congratulations for doing that. It's very self-empowering, and I think that it relates to your dream and your willpower and your voice. But one more question before we dive into your dream. Did you ever have lesbian dreams as you were growing up or while you were dating men? And then they don't have to be like dark, female dreams, but did you ever have like lesbian sex dreams? And then that
Oh,
would.
yeah.
Okay, so you did. So your dreams. So were you influenced by those dreams to be like, oh, that's really me? Because my whole idea is that your dreams, if you can discern them and you intend them to be in alignment with your God self, it's your way to God without anyone telling you. So it's our dreams are so important to develop and nurture because for me, it's my relationship directly to God. There's no intermediary for me between me and my dreams. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
did your dreams have any persuasiveness in telling you, hey, this is you, hey, this is you? You're real. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I really think so. Yeah, I do, and I completely agree with you on it being a doorway to God and our higher power, our higher consciousness, all of that. And so it's funny because I used to joke with some of my friends as a young adult, kind of playing with the idea that, oh, one foot in, one foot out. And I had a dream when I was in junior high. I remember it as clear as day about George Michael, and I had the biggest crush on him. Well, ironically, he's gay, so I'm pretty sure that was like, hello, you're really not in love with men, you're just gay. So,
And that I totally relate because I grew up on Wham and George Michael, and yet I never really
yeah,
liked him. So I liked his music, but that was it. So
oh,
super funny.
that's
So
funny. Yeah,
all right, let's dive into your dream. And later in the show, I'm going to teach shielding techniques and dream tips on how to protect from dark force manipulation. However, audience, listen to this. This is a flip situation because this is where the dream now is the shield. Okay, later I'm going to teach about how you can protect yourself from dark force manipulation in your dreams, but this is the opposite now. This is where Ericka, I believe, had a dream that was her shield. So go ahead and let's go ahead and recite your dream, Ericka, for our audience.
yeah, of course. So I just also want to preface real quick. When I had this dream, this was like day three or it was day three and date three of knowing my now ex, but and it was the first night that we slept together, and I stayed the night at her house, so it all moved very quickly. Um, so when my dream was of me and her being in her bedroom, um, and at first I thought maybe I was still awake because it was like everything was dim, and it was like maybe I had woken up in the middle of the night and there was like light shining, but I was definitely asleep. And her room, just to kind of give you an image, was or is very large. It's very sterile. It has white tile flooring, a very huge flat screen TV on the wall. She had a white leather chair on one side of the bed, and the footrest was on the other side of the bed with two nightstands and a lamp. It was grand, very, very grand. She is very financially well off, but the room felt very sterile. And even in waking life, the room is very sterile. So in my dream, I sat up and I watched my ex go into the bathroom, which the bathroom is around the corner. So I watched her kind of go around the corner, and I was super confused because it felt like I was still awake, but it also felt like I was asleep. So I decided to get up because I thought, well, if I am asleep, I wouldn't be able to physically get up because I was like in this weird place. So I got up, and as soon as I stood up out of the bed, my ex came flying around the corner out of the bathroom and grabbed my neck and like pushed me into the wall with like superhuman strength, and she was strangling me. And then she lifted me off the ground, and I remember looking in her eyes, and she just had this like really crazy, intense stare. And she told me that every part of me belonged to her now. And it felt like she was going to kill me if I were to fight her on anything. And so, like, sometimes I had the ability to like wake myself up. And so I was super terrified, and I went through this moment of paralyzation, and then was like, okay, I'm dreaming, I need to scream. And so I like screamed, and I woke myself up, and I like kind of sat up. And when I woke up, she was not in the bed. Her typical MO, as I later found out in the relationship, was to have sex and then go to the garage and have a cigarette, and just like, I would just lay in bed and hang out, or if I wanted to go into the garage and talk to her, I could, but it was very much all about her. And so, that was my first experience, and I decided not to tell her because I thought, oh, maybe I'm just being crazy, maybe I'm just being weird. But there was definitely, it's like there's some dreams that you can just see so clearly as though it happened yesterday, and this is one of those dreams.
And it feels like it. It feels like a thriller that I'm watching on TV. And I know that this happened really recently for you. And you just said you're 50, and it means you're embodying now. You're going through spiritual transformation. You're not in your 20s, 30s, and 40s anymore. And that's really interesting to know because you sound so young and so light at heart, and you're so beautiful. And it's so interesting to feel like this could be happening at this age. So yeah, it feels very real. And but
Yeah.
yet yeah, for sure. It's terrifying. And what happened this time is that you told me about the scream, which really resonates with me, and the word sterile, which means no love, no beauty, no color. Which is really indicative of dark force. But let's start off by
Mm.
giving this dream a title, which gives us the theme. But it's your title. So could you tell me a title for this dream?
I think for me, it's the subtitle would be control. Um,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I, I felt, yeah.
Okay. So we'll just start with control. And secondly, we go into the reality check. And it's really, we just talked about it. Could this have happened in real life? So if you have a dream, audience, and something like this happens with a partner or a family member or someone that you know, you will see that you will check the box, reality check. This could happen in real life, even though maybe the person has not displayed any violent force or violent behavior, which you had no idea. So this was out of place for you, but yet you knew her, and it was actually took place in the place that you were there in the room, and it took place in the room. So everyone, when you do a reality check, that is telling you this could be a precognitive dream, right? And it was a clear
Yeah.
clear warning, as we'll find out. Thirdly, what was the major emotion in the dream? I think it was terror, right? Or was it something other than
Well,
joy?
yeah, complete fear, terror. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I was
Okay.
completely terrified.
So, and again, this dream came in, and again, you said it came in very clear. It doesn't matter. I've had experiences where, um, you know, this is what I know to be true. When you need a signal from your soul to save yourself, the dream's going to come in. You need to know what you need
Mm.
to, when you need to know it, bam. And you think that, okay, I'm going to have a dream every week like this. No, I mean, it doesn't happen. But this one was one of those moments. God came in and said, this. I think that was very, very, very clear from your higher self. So these dark predatorial dreams are coming from the fact, and this is if it were my dream now. If it were my dream, I'm going to interpret it from my lived experience. And I would think that this is coming in because I was embodying my soul layers, which is my fourth, fifth, and sixth layer: the heart, the throat, the third eye. And these are the three layers of the soul. And the soul, obviously, this fourth layer is the astral plane, and that's where we dream. So this has to do about a
Mm.
spiritual initiation from your soul embodying new energies. Because what you didn't tell the audience was that later, 5 months on down the road, you were able to you were given the energies to break up with her. You were given the power, even though she had your throat, you were given the power. So
Yeah.
we'll come back to that. So again, you as you embody more solar light, what happens is especially because of our age, and a lot of our audience is in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. In this, when you're embodying more light, your shadow does rise up. And here's my point. It didn't happen with the men. But now that you're this age and you're going back to your true heart and who you really are as a lesbian, then you were spiritually challenged in your with your in yourself, and it came through what you thought was going to be the rain, the romantic, solution to all your problems. That's where you were blindsided the most. And it makes so much sense that life works like that, and that it was probably hit you a lot harder than it would have if it were a man. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, yeah, no, that resonates like so deeply, and it's so interesting because I do feel like I had so many vivid dreams with her. This is just the first of many that felt like it was like what you're saying, warnings and showing the shadows and all of that. So yeah, you are so spot on, and it resonates so deeply. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And I want to talk about the fact that this can happen to anyone, though, no matter what your sexual preference is, what your sexual identity is, because the soul initiation doesn't care about that, especially shamanically. And throughout my, Celtic shamanic training, I know this, I've experienced it. What the soul it cares about is your integrity, your safety, and honoring your sacred self. And in order to do that, in order to embody those energies, to set your boundaries, say no, push darkness away, push dark manipulation away, push away power, people with power hungry, um, negative egos, right, that are having their own pain issues and are attacking you. You have to be really strong. And in order to do that, you have to embody the higher frequencies to protect yourself, but you have to actually clear your own pain body before you can embody them. And I think that this was an experience and in a dream that set you off on that spiritual path of embodying those energies to help you say yes to yourself and no to dark manipulation, because you had said she used to manipulate you with money. She told you in the dream she owned you. This was a
Mm-hmm.
person with a lot of dark attachments, a lot of dark pain, a lot of pain issues in their negative ego. And honestly, they could have matched yours at that point, but you weren't meant to stay there. You were meant to rise out of it, and you did, like we said, miraculously. So let's go about the specific imagery in the room. And I thought that it was interesting that you sat up in bed and that she was in the bathroom. And that bathroom image in dreams always, to me, means cleansing. And I wonder if that
Mm.
resonates with you, but because this was a part of your dark shadow that needed to be cleansed away. And the fact that she came flying from the bathroom at superhuman strength, and that you belong to her now. Okay, the above description that we just read, if it were my dream, I would recognize the fact that you also got out of the bed and stood on your own 2 feet, that you were in your own personal power, that even though she tried to take it away from you. This is so symbolic. What if you were on the bed and she
Yeah.
strangled? That would have been so submissive. And yet you did, do you want to share with me the kind of, you said the kind of sex you both had was,
Yeah.
was, not
Yeah.
necessarily, what's the word? you know, Normal, like, I don't even know what word you call it, just like traditional sex.
Yeah.
Um,
It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't lovemaking or anything like romantic or intimate in any aspect. I ironically, before I had met her, I'd been studying tantra and wanting to understand more of a kundalini awakening through sexual connection, and just curious about that. And then she introduced to me this whole world of BDSM, which I knew nothing about. And it was at first, because I'm a very open person. I am very accepting. I try not to judge. And so I'm like, oh, this is interesting. What is this? And let's give it a go. So ironically, I was the submissive one and she was the dominant one, which was the theme that played out in our entire relationship dynamic. Um, and, you know, she used to often say, like, my kindness can't be real. And I think she probably thought that it was my weakness even. And, you know, so yeah, our sex life was far from gentle and loving and intimate,
Yeah.
and very much about power
About
and
power
control.
and manipulating power and control, which was clearly illustrated in your dream. And I guess it's a choice. It's up to you. What do you truly want? But I know, you know, what I want is not that. So I'm thinking
Yeah,
that
me too.
that. So, hey, let's talk about the crazy look in her eye, because that's a clear signal to me that whoever you're dealing with is not telling the truth. So if you have dreams with people who can't look you in the eye, or their eyes are looking different ways, or they're subverting you, or even in real life, you're trying to hold someone's eyes in attention, it's clearly signaling that this person is operating in lies and deception. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it is so true, because this particular dream was showing you crazy eyes. And that is a clear,
Yeah,
again, symbol for manipulation, dark gaslighting, dark force manipulation. And it seems to me that she, like, again, she had demonic forces working with her through the sexual energies. Now, you must understand that dark force manipulation enters easily through people who are vulnerable through sexual relationships, romantic relationships. That's where the heart gets broken. That's where you think love is sex. And that is where dark manipulation starts. And that's why so many people
yeah,
experience sexual misery. And your dreams will warn you if you have a true and clear heart, or you want to be in love truly, and you're not looking for power grabs and manipulation, but to be one with someone in love. You will be susceptible to this kind of manipulation. And that is the sad truth. But your dreams can warn you, like
mm,
your dream did. And I want you to
yeah,
forward to the magical experience of being given the foresight or the energy of being able to command your space, command yourself in her presence. How
yeah,
did you do that? And where did it come from?
yeah. Well, you know, first off, I just want to um, let you know that you're 100% spot on with the eyes and not telling the truth. I ended up catching her in so many lies, as our relationship progressed. And, you know, she wouldn't acknowledge it. But now, today, there's some things that have come to surface, and I'm like, there's my proof. Oh my gosh, I was not going crazy. So, just a side note to your listeners, like, that is so spot on. Um, and then, yes, so 5 months into our relationship, and we had an argument. Our relationship became very volatile, but it became very much about her gaslighting me and making me the one with all the problems. And, you know, I was the crazy one. I was the one that always had something wrong with me. And so, you know, long story short, through our conversation on the phone, it's almost like I had checked out, and before I knew it, I had said, I'm done, and I can't be in this relationship anymore. And I broke up with her and hung up the phone. And before I could even realize that I had broken up with her and hung up the phone. So it literally felt like spirit came through me and uttered these words. And it was shocking because I had been practicing holding more boundaries before I met my ex. And I had been really wanting to, you know, be that person that knows that if it's not healthy, I need to step out. And I knew it, but I wasn't doing it. And then, like, yeah, spirit just came right through me. And then we broke up. And, you know, I wish I could say that was the end of it, but it wasn't. And a month later, she reached back out, and I think universe was testing me. And in some ways, I failed, and in some ways, I might have passed. Um, but it presented opportunity for an even bigger stake in the ground. And after a few months of going back and forth and getting back together and trying to figure this out, I don't know why she broke up with me. It was literally completely shocking, unexpected. And then she accused me of some really awful things, and then threatened to destroy my life. Literally, she's very powerful. She's very financially well off. She has the resources to like squash somebody if she really wanted to. So it scared me when she said, accused me of these things, and then threatened to destroy me, to the point that I would not survive, mind you. And so my old self before all of this would have cowered and, you know, hid away, fearful. Even though I didn't do anything, knowing that I didn't do anything, I still would have cowered. This time, I filed a police report and took action and put my foot in the ground and said, you know what, this is not okay. Do not contact me again. And went so much further even to file a restraining order in just in case I needed to actually pull the trigger on it. It's in the system, and I thankfully haven't had to, but it's been really interesting, and I do feel like it all circles back to that first dream.
It absolutely did. Ericka, I'm flabbergasted at your story. I definitely think it came back to your dream because you stood on your own 2 feet before she attacked you. It kind of foreshadowed the whole tumultuous next 5 months, but yet that you knew to stand on your 2 feet first. The fact that you know, stood up to her targeting and her character defamation and assassination on you to destroy you when she had all of this money. And that is so indicative of, you know, your pure heart intimidated her, the way she operated in the world with her lovers. And I mean, because what else could it be? You know what I mean? Like that is so your purity, literally, and that I don't know, because there's really no other reason why, because you didn't intimidate her financially or career wise. It was just the sex. It was, or the relationship, and you said no. And this is so important and powerful for people to understand, because they might have friends. I mean, there is so much manipulation in this way with lovers, and you are so brave to come forward and express that. And thank God that you had the power of your higher self to come in and give you the strength to say no and to take action and to not be bullied. And it did come back to that dream again. You were, you know, would you have, in hindsight, looking back, would you have stopped it right there?
And started up, just coming up on the halfway point here.
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you, by the way, Kelly, for saying such kindness. I really appreciate it. It's been very painful, almost year. But looking back, no, I don't think I would have done anything differently, because while it's been very painful, I do feel like a lot of things were cleared out within this relationship dynamic, so that my the next relationship I have, I'm really able to step into it fully in all aspects of me and in my strengths, and know, like, believe me, like at this point, if I'm on a date and I see a red flag, I hightail it out of there. So, and I think now if I were to have a dream like this with somebody else, I would probably, not entertain a long-term relationship. So yeah, but it being my first one, I'm glad that I did move through it the way that we did.
Well, okay, so if you could learn on one relationship and one dream, you are a superhero, because it took me about at least 117 because experiences to actually be like, oh, okay. It's almost like a sobering up and a straightening of getting into alignment with your your virtue ethics, and the purity of kindness and boundaries and beauty and goodness and truth. And that can be cultivated through your dreams if you connect with them and with your God self to help you and transform. And I want to thank you for that. And teach my audience in the second half of the show how to shield so that you can have dreams like that, so that you can partner with your soul and your dreams to be there as a warning, because you were always on a spiritual path. I think that that's why it came in so clear. And some people aren't even on a spiritual path and they will have a warning dream. Well, will they heed it or not? um your dreams will not give up on you. Do not give up on your dreams. Any last words before we sign
Yeah.
out? But hey, thank you.
Just thank you, Kelly.
Oh, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate. Oh. You really have you've given me such insight, and it's all made sense and a sense of healing. So I can really, in full confidence, move forward and let go, and just trust that this was not for nothing. And so I'm super grateful for your time, for your insight, for your wisdom, for your podcast. So you're just doing such great work. So please, please, please keep doing it.
Thank you, Ericka. Thank you so much. I want to have you back. And so have a great day, and
Yeah.
I'll talk to you. And so, yeah, when we come back, we will do shielding techniques for protecting your dreams from dark manipulation. All right, now welcome back. And in this half of this podcast, we're going to go over how to shield yourself and protect your dreams from dark force manipulation. Well, why am I doing that? Well, because I asked my own dreams what I should be teaching my audience. And then I was clearly directed with a dream image. I was given a dream image as I was waking from sleep. So that's the hypnopompic state. There's two states of that in between state. So when you're falling asleep, the hypnagogic state. So let's just call it, the twilight of falling asleep. That can be a very psychic place to receive information, see images, see actual, see the future, hear clairaudient messages. And you can also get these psychic messages as you go from sleep to awake. And I get both. I tend to like the ones that come from sleep to awake because I remember them more. And I was given an image of a sculpted porcelain white lamp with a cone-shaped lampshade. And I immediately knew you've got to teach your audience shielding with light, protecting with light, turning that light on intentionally, especially when it comes to dreams. So what is the metaphoric or symbolic meaning of a lamp? Well, it has to do with illumination, new ideas, okay, the truth. On the opposite hand, it also means warnings, a warning of something coming, especially if the lamp was off in your dream or dream image, because I was not sleeping at this point. I was very lucid and awake. And I noticed that it was a beautiful lamp, but the light, the electricity was not running through it. And this meant a warning. And actually, it came true as well. So both the image to teach shielding and light, but it was also a warning for me that I learned later on that day, when I was actually accused of false accusations of things that I did. And I was blindsided by this. And this was just the other day. And again, the only thing that got me through this was my shielding techniques and pulling in, okay, the light. And so what I'm going to go over with you is also a synchronicity that happened that day when I got up after shielding myself and going through my shielding before I got out of bed, which is a great technique to shield yourself and do a short prayer, bringing in your light, doing your shielding technique before you go to bed and as you wake up. And as I woke up and looked outside, there was a double rainbow over right in front of my balcony, like literally feet away from me. I couldn't believe how brilliant it was. And of course, shamanically, I went right to the rainbow and bathed myself in this amazing rays of light and took a picture. And if I don't know if Jacob's putting it up there, that would be great. So here's this rainbow. And the reason why it's important to me is because as I was shielding with my white light or silver platinum light, I turned it into rainbows as I spun it counterclockwise around me, within me, around my light shield. And the rainbow was there to, again, for me, I read into it. I read, I'm doing the right thing. This is what you should be doing and teaching. And so today I'm going to start with the first easy technique that I was doing since I was in my 20s, and I learned it from a combination of reading books, taking classes, back in the 80s and 90s, as well as taking Siddha yoga. And it's simply a technique that you can say, but as we move into it, I want you to also feel it and see it and sense it and persuade yourself through feeling, smelling, hearing, tasting, smelling. I mean, the more senses you use when you shield yourself, the more powerful it will be for your mind. So the first one goes like this. So I would say, infinite spirit. I invoke the Christ white light to the north, south, west, east, above, below, and all the spaces in between. Only love can penetrate my protective shield, and so it is. That's a really easy one. You can, substitute different words for ones that you prefer, but it's all about invoking and commanding your space. And you can do this as you get up, but you can also do it as you go to sleep. And why do we want to do that? Because we dream. The soul is in part of the fourth dimension, is one of the soul layers. And in the fourth dimension, there's a lot of discarnate spirits. There's a lot of energy out there. There's a lot of dark force manipulation. And if you have a lot of pain and trauma, or you have addiction and or attachments, this is where you can be attacked. You can also be attacked if you're ascending or you are going through changes or evolving. You will also pull dark forces to you. And this is my experience. This is my lived Gnostic experience of embodying more light and going through these experiences and learning how to command my space during the day and at night. Now, if you pull in this white light, you can pull it through the top of your head, coming down through your spine, down through your feet. You can spin it out, inhaling and exhaling with your breath, pulling it around you in a counterclockwise motion to cleanse and clear any darkness or dark attachments. And you can then spin it into rainbow colors to have the full spectrum of that white light. And it's really important to feel it calm your central nervous system, to feel it soothe and heal and feel whole and sane. That's the most important part about shielding. And even if you shield, hey, if you have a nightmare, you'll be able to discern, is this something that I need to clear, or is this a dark attack? And there is an ability that you must start learning to discern the different energies. Here we are jumping into dark men dreams, dark woman dreams. And here, we had talked to Ericka about her experience, and she did know intuitively, she knew the truth even back then, even though it took her 5 months. I would definitely hope to think that moving forward, she would use these shielding techniques to see the difference and feel the difference between hey, that's just a nightmare, or that was just a dream, to wow, I was completely warned, because I know the feeling of my shield. I know the feeling of goodness. I know the feeling of wholeness and sanity and the wholeness of a rainbow. So if you think of what the rainbow or white light represents, It is wholeness, sanity, and health, and purity and truth. And that is the energy you want to think about when you pull it into your shield. So now, also, let's talk about after you shield yourself before you go to bed, you can then ask your dreams to give you guidance on a relationship, give you guidance on a person, to help you uncover your blind spots that could be driving your addictions. And it might be a big addiction or a small addiction. You could be addicted to a substance or food, or you could be addicted to a thought, or a thought form, or thinking that you're not good enough. And this, again, your dreams can, like Ericka has experienced, in perfect timing, your higher spirit and self, with the help of your dreams, will swoop in to help you embody self-empowerment. And that, again, is the whole reason why I have been drawn to my dreams for spiritual development, because it is all about the freedom to exercise our own will and our own power of creativity and self-determination. And again, so I would love to hear from you. You can call in. I'd love to interpret your dream, ask me questions about dreams or psychic development or spiritual development. And let's hear from you. I'm going to call in Jacob and see if he's had any dreams lately, or if he's had any experiences that he could ask me about. And Jacob, are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah. I had a dream recently, but I had a hard time remembering it after. I know I've been kind of telling myself to try to remember my dreams before I go to bed. But it was. I just remember it being interesting. So, what is your best tip for remembering dreams? And then I think maybe along those same lines, like you've been talking about being, protecting yourself too. How do you, what do you do if you have a dream that is maybe a little bit negative and you remember that one, but you're having a hard time remembering like good dreams?
Here's what I think about that. And I think it's very valid. Most of the time, I'm dreaming about things I should be worried about, or, that I should be focusing on, or that I could fix or be warned about. That's just what's happening in my life right now. And yet, so most of my dreams will be telling me, this could be happening, watch out here, watch out there. So a lot of the times, for survival reasons, we will have more negative dreams. I mean, that's what we think about them, right? We put them in that negative camp or that negative basket. And then the good feeling dreams, that were fun and exciting, we put over here, they're a lot less. And that's because I think that times are so hard right now, and we're clearing our pain body. And collectively, as a planet, as a, human consciousness, we're all going through this. Some people are just in their own space clearing. Other people are more connected to greater energies. It just depends. But still, we're all feeling the residue of having a lot of negative dreams. They could be remembering memories, like processing family issues or ties, and having this, don't worry about it. This is good. This is where we can process things a lot more quickly than going to a therapist. In my opinion, of course, if you're going to therapy, that's great, because then you can take something to the therapist to talk about, and it will accelerate its processing and release. So if you're paying attention to your dreams and writing them down and intending them, then you're going to get the fruits of, working with spirit and partnering with spirit, partnering with your soul, partnering with your dreams, just like you do your, if you were partnering with your horse, your mare, and you're trying to create a relationship with a very powerful force, right? You have to get that force to respect you. So I have to ask, Jacob, and wrapping up, are you intending to remember your dreams? I hope so. And yes or no?
Yes, no, absolutely. I've been trying to create a habit of at least talking about my dreams when I have them, first thing in the morning.
Right.
That's helped me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just want to say that I haven't been remembering a lot of my dreams because of high stress levels in my job. And yet that one dream came through from spirit, teach people how to shield themselves. And I'm going to keep, doing variations of that. And that's great. If you can take that away today. So thanks for listening. And I hope to see you on my phone call on the next Dream Diva podcast. Thank you for listening to the Dream Diva podcast with me, Kelly Keough. Try to remember your dreams tonight and don't forget to write them down. My masterclass in shamanic dreaming and intuitive dream interpretation will help you break free of the past and empower your transformation now. Whether you remember your dreams or not, you'll receive inspirational guidance to help change your career, health, and relationships. We'll explore messages from your soul symbols and spirit guides, and we'll also develop your higher sensory perception. To book an intuitive reading with me, visit thedreamdiva.com. The Dream Diva podcast airs every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio.